Oh, hey there. How are you guys? Steve-O here for Movies and TVs on the ball. And I was just wondering, this is more of a question on video games. I've talked about in the past about video game movies, of course, like your Tomb Raiders, Super Mario Brothers, the Sonic film, Sonic the Hedgehog. But I was wondering, and I know I don't have it on here, but out of all the um, systems, which systems did you guys grow up with? Were you a original Nintendo person like I am, who I basically played Nintendo, the NES. I skipped Super Nintendo, went straight to the N64, and went to GameCube, and then I've kind of locked off, and then I went to PlayStation, and I've had a PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and PlayStation 3, as you can see right there. And that PlayStation 3 has really been my Blu-ray player. And then I've also played every once in a while, because I talk about Halo a little bit, I played a little Xbox as well. And for me, I wanted to and I think the other reason why I'm talking about video games is kind of to expand the horizon of the channel for not just people talking about movies and TV shows as well as video games. I've played a lot of games in the past, mostly games such as let's see, not Splinter Cell. Sport games like NBA Live. And I know it's back, but NCAA football came back, and that's one of the games. This is from PlayStation 2, of course, even though I got a PlayStation 3. But for me, I'm more of a guy who likes video games, because I feel like video games, in the same way as films, it is an artwork. My probably top favorite video games is I liked the GoldenEye for the N64. I liked the game, of course, Sonic and Mario, which, are two movies that have actually done surprisingly well as franchises for films. And the other games I've played is Marvel Alliance. I played the Spider-Man. I think there were two Spider-Man games. There was there was actually three. There was a Spider-Man game for PlayStation 1, and then there were the Spider-Man movie games, Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 movie games for PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3. I was a fan of those games. Of course, I liked Mario Kart, but I think nowadays video games have become more art and storytelling than anything. But I enjoyed a lot of, I think GoldenEye is still a classic. They actually re-released it with Daniel Craig as James Bond, which was a pretty cool game. I've got it somewhere strapped around. But, there were games like, what games were hard for you? Like, one of them was, for me, the Star Wars Shadow of the Empire, because that game had the most, had the hardest level was the Hoth level, where you had to use the spacecraft. I can't remember. It's like the T-1666, that thing and you had to loop around those A111s, the ones that look like giant mastodons. That was one of the hardest games, was the Shadow of the Empire. As a Star Wars fan, I'm also a fan of well, Star Wars fan, I'll get there, but you know, Tekken, which actually had a film. This is Tekken 6 right here. Assassin's Creed, which was a really good video game movie, and I'm really wanting to talk about Assassin's Creed because it was a really good video game where they went from the ancient times to, and there's like the memories of ancient times and the ancient like the ancestors of like the people. You go into the mind and it's the memory. It's a really cool episode. It's a really cool series. I liked you know, Mortal Kombat, of course. Does anybody remember Turok as well? The N64, and I think it had a sequel called Turok 2 where they would have it was another game where you fought dinosaurs but with like guns and a knife. It was like Jurassic Park, but it wasn't as it was a little bit different. I liked a lot of games, you know, Tomb Raider. I mean, a lot of these games have sort of developed into movies. You know, I've done a video on Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighters, and of course those games were good. And then I've talked about Halo, for instance. But what games did you, actually, to all my fans, what system did you grow up with? Were you a Nintendo fan? Were you into PlayStation? Or were you born on Xbox? I grew up Nintendo and PlayStation, of course, but I played a couple of games of Xbox. Let me know what your thoughts are on what games are you really interested in playing. What games have you played? What classic games did you play as a kid? Were you Sonic, Mario? Did you enjoy GoldenEye? Did you enjoy Resident Evil, Red Dead Redemption, and of course the classic game Assassin's Creed that I've already talked about, but I'll give you Twisted Metal, and of course Grand Theft. Oh, where is it? God, come there. Anyway, Grand Theft Auto is another great game as well. So those are the games that I played before. What is your favorite video games systems that you enjoy? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, like and subscribe. Peace.